Hey everyone, welcome back to the Victoria 3 Austria into Germany campaign. This is the second episode as we try to deal with the aggressiveness of the Prussians, who are also trying to consolidate their hold over northern Germany and the smaller German states there. Welcome back. I hope you enjoy, and let's go. So lots going on right here. So after Prussia has surrendered in their war against Baden, with us as Austria back in Baden, Great Britain has taken over as the war leader. But in the meantime, Prussia has started another diplomatic play in South Germany over Württemberg, trying to conquer Württemberg outright with the backing of Austria and Russia also getting involved. And then in the meantime, we have an uprising in Krakow, as looks like there is a Polish uprising, as we have the Krakowian peasant revolt. So lots of turmoil going on in 1841. We're going to move Karl Ludwig von Fickelmont over to suppress the Krakowans. We will also help the Württembergs out, which I think they'll be okay on their own. So we'll just send a smaller corps over there, maybe Westmeath to that front. And then we'll keep the remainder on the Prussian front. Now, the British, for their part, have not landed anywhere. It looks like there might be, as our Navy right now is just guarding the coast. Good news for us, Russia wants a trade agreement that will help with our bureaucracy as they become a very, very good trading partner. We will not have to expend any convoys since it will be over land routes. The final stages of the Württemberg-Prussian diplomatic play will begin, and war with Prussia has broken out. Don't know what they're thinking. If they think they have a shot at it, they must think their military is so strong. Let's watch the developments on the Silesian front again. As Prussia is on the defensive, Austria will try to re-push into Prussian territory again and make an example of them again. And the Krakowian peasant revolt has broken out. This should be relatively easy to resolve. Now, we are quick to judgment as the first battle shows that Prussia learning from their mistakes. Even though our numbers look pretty good on paper, we are going to lose the first battle here in Silesia. Russians also suffering a defeat in the Polish front. Next battle sees again the Prussians getting the better of the Austrians. So again, bad start here to this war. Quick overview of the South Tyrol front in this war. The numbers look pretty even, although the Prussians look like they do have a slight advantage in quality. Is it enough to win the war against overwhelming odds? The Austrians field over 400 battalions, so we'll see. First two battles, though, go to the Prussians. The next offensive, again, sent reeling back. Although the revolutionary Krakow is annexed. Yeah, another defeat here in Silesia. The next offensive on the South Tyrol front against the Prussians. Again, looks like it's going to be another defeat. So the British have landed in Italy. One thing about the constant warfare is really striking a blow against our standard of living, as it has been reduced greatly, down to 10.9, causing a lot of radicals as well. 2 million since August 20th, 1841, and they are forced to capitulate. And it looks like we may have our first victory against the Prussians in this war. The Austrians are pushing towards Berlin. They have finally broken through the front. Yeah, Radetzky marches towards Berlin now. War against Prussia. War support still high for Württemberg and the Russians. We might be able to pull this off as long as we can keep marching forward on the Prussian front. So the Austrians are almost getting ready to take the state capital of Brandenburg. They have reached the outskirts of the city. Looks like the Prussians are about to make a last-ditch effort, but the Austrians are able to push back the defenders, even if they were outnumbered. Now, the Prussians have had to split their forces up and deal with the Russians, but they've held the Russians at bay in East Prussia. Austrians about to claim another victory in Brandenburg. Late stages of the war now, and you can see the Austrians have cut a path into just a matter of time now as the Prussians are getting close to capitulation. So Prussia sues for peace, and we are able to liberate, or Württemberg actually liberates Pomerania, Hesse, Kessel, and Danzig is liberated. Here are the new borders of Europe, but we have taken on an extreme amount of debt, although we should be able to pay it down as we have demobilized and expenses have gone way down, which we can actually reduce military wages. We can probably even reduce taxes and get our standard of living back up, because we now have a rebel or a radical problem to deal with. And we are in good position to make a leadership play, a really good position to make the leadership play, as we have 15 supporters to Prussia's 1. The only thing that's holding us back is a truce with Prussia until 1848. So moving on from the Prussian Wars of 1840 to 43, we will be tasked with rebuilding our economy back up, increasing the standard of living for our pops, reducing the radical threat, increasing loyalists, and paying down our debt. So big task ahead of us. We will definitely use that time of truce with the Prussians to our advantage. We'll also use that time to build even better relations with the German minor states that have yet to fall under our fold. So right now we control 13 out of 19 state regions to form Germany. So we need 6 more. We have 16 supporters in the leadership play. We still have a truce until 1848 with Prussia. So we're going to increase our education investment level to grant us plus 20% education access and plus 25% assimilation, since we have a lot of discriminated pops, and maybe assimilating them may improve our radical situation, which is starting to get out of control. We are going to try to enact poor law since there's some support behind it, and it doesn't look like it's going to cause that much disruption to the government. So let's go over a quick summary about the current events after the long wars against Prussia starting in the early 1840s. It is now 1844. We are in massive debt, so we are trying to get back to at least a balanced budget, and then hopefully gain some gold reserves as well. Our current government sees the Austrian aristocracy with the rural folk in the government right now, giving us an 83% legitimacy. We're trying to currently enact poor laws supported mainly by the rural folk. Supported mainly by the industrialists and the trade unions. The Prussian Wars caused lots of standard of living decreases, as we had been about over 12.2, maybe 12.5, but the wars wreaked havoc on our production and industry, causing a large increase in radicals. Now that is plateaued and starting to decrease as we try to improve standard of living right now, which should be the biggest impact on decreasing radicals. We have put a consumption tax on services while we try to maintain a positive balance while also building up the industry as well. We're going to want to take that off eventually though, because services are needed by all stratas and can be a really large impact on the middle strata. Now, one of our main goals here in this campaign is to form Germany. We currently have 17 supporters for the unification. We currently have a truce with Prussia, but we'll probably most likely take an opportunity to launch the leadership play once that truce is up. Due for a promotion, Lieutenant General Karl Ludwig von Fickelmont is due for a promotion. He has earned it, especially in his service against the Prussians in the Prussian Wars. Prisons of the poor. Some social reformers among the intelligentsia have spoken out against the proposed poor laws, viewing them as an attempt to make poverty itself a crime. This will hurt our chances of enacting poor laws. We will pick there must be ways for this new system respect personal liberty. Yes, it's minus 20% enactment success chance, but we avoid the -2 interest group approval for 5 years. We are actually going to cancel the poor laws enactment for now and return maybe in a year to try to pass it again. Looks like we'll be able to get Frankfurt into our customs union. Looks like we need clothes, so we're going to build a lot of clothes factories. Seeing an opportunity, Hesse has declared Prussia as their rival. And now Hanover supports Austria and Hamburg supports Austria for the unification bid. Right now we're trying to improve relations with Hanover, Oldenburg, and Bremen because they're a little less accepting of Austrian domination of the German state. The South German miners are pretty well established. Even Saxony's on board with Austria. And I see our friends, the Prussians, are at it again, making a diplomatic play in north of Germany to conquer Hanover, Hesse, Kassel, Brunswick, and puppet Oldenburg. So they're making a huge bid. We're going to have to intervene. So to get ready for this war and not completely destroy our economy, because we have not paid enough debt down. We're hoping to not get involved into another major conflict until 1848 at the very earliest. Now, here's what we're going to do. We want to get at least +10 on the armed forces. We'll increase very high military wages. Going to throw a consumption tax on wine. All right, we are going to support Hanover in the diplomatic play. Let's start mobilizing for war. So currently in the diplomatic maneuvers, the United States, Austria, even Sweden right now are backing Hanover, along with a couple other German miners, and Prussia only has the support of the Hohenzollern and Lübeck. If we look at the front situation on the Elbe front, there is a slight offensive advantage to the Prussians, although with the added Austrian support, defensive number looks like a 58. So far, the Prussians haven't assigned any troops to the South Tyrol front. See how the rest of the diplomatic maneuvers play out. They are fearful. Maybe they'll back down. Prefer if they back down instead of getting into a costly war. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. Front right here on the Elbe front looks like it'll be a pretty even fight. So war has broken out again against Prussia. So let's get to arms. All right, let's watch the opening campaigns of the war. First battle. Looks like we'll have the advantage there. Heinrich von Hesse and Karl von Zieten. The Prussians have left their southern front completely unguarded, though. Bold strategy, Cotton. All right, continuing on. Looks like the first battle is a victory for the Austrian alliance. We're actually going to move the 25 battalions here to a new front. Actually, we're going to help the Hanovers here in western Prussia, in the Rhineland. All right, the next battle on the Elbe front. Again, looks like another victory for the Austrians and Hanoverians. Not sure what the Prussians were thinking here in Silesia. Complete botched strategy by the Prussians. Very uncharacteristic. The only advantage this might give the Prussians is that it will set up another truce with Austria. So it may actually delay a diplomatic play for the unification leadership. The war continues. Prussians have actually moved 16 battalions to the Prussian front, but they're already in negative war score. Lübeck has capitulated. Well, they actually pushed us back because we didn't have anyone on that front. Oh, some of our guys have held back in reserve. Backroom dealings exposed. We're trying to repass that poor law, the Poor's Law. Pushing against the poor laws. All right, Nassau has capitulated. And that ends the war against Prussia, as those were the two demands from Hanover. So that did extend the truce, though, out until 1852 with Prussia. We actually came out of that war relatively in good shape. Actually, our standard of living has raised quite a bit since then, almost up to 12. So much improved situation after that war.